Hi guys, this is Jaden here, and since I already have access to Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's Halloween schedules, I will be sharing my thoughts on how I feel about their Halloween plans for the 3rd October in a row, and this time I'm getting it out of the way before my birthday, so yeah, let me get this started. Now, normally when I do these type of videos, I would start off to when Adult Swim signs off and goes over to Cartoon Network. But no, this year I actually want to start off with what they're doing right before they sign off over to Adult Swim. And yeah, they're giving us a couple of early morning King of the Hill episodes. But one of the episodes they'll be playing at that time is that damn Bat episode that at this point, they'll already have played like 2 or 3 times during the latter half of October. It's like, come on, that episode has nothing to do with Halloween. I mean, yeah, I get why they're playing it because it's about bats and shit, and there's not that many Halloween episodes of King of the Hill, but come on, there's like other Halloween-related episodes I'm sure you guys can air. And it's not even that good of an episode, so yeah, I just wanted to do a quick rant about that, and yeah, after they give us a couple of early morning King of the Hill episodes, though, they'll sign off over to Cartoon Network. Well, they start off by giving us a couple of early morning regular show Terror Tales episodes, so yeah, off to a good start. And then there's the heroic prince of the valiant Prince Ivandoe in this episode called The Prince and the Raspberry Fairy. Even though I've seen bits of that Prince Ivandoe show, I don't think I've seen that episode, but I'm pretty sure it's not related to Halloween. Same thing with the 2 Barney's World episodes that they'll be airing at that time too. And then we get some Gumball, and one of the episodes they'll be playing of Gumball during Halloween Day will be the Season 2 Halloween special, which is still to this day one of my favorite Gumball episodes. Like I've said multiple times before, I still love that episode, and I look forward to watching it later this year for Halloween. Although I've also noticed that they've overplayed that episode quite a bit this month, and there's also some other Gumball episodes that they've overplayed during this month of October too, and most of them aren't even related to Halloween. And even though I still love Gumball, yeah, that's pretty lame. And then there's a Halloween episode of Tiny Toons University and Crypto. And I gotta be honest with you guys, like up until today, I don't think I knew that either of those 2 shows had Halloween episodes. Well, I think the Tiny Toons University one's supposed to be premiering like earlier this month. And if it's not that, I guess it has already premiered. But yeah, that's interesting. And then we get a Scooby-Doo marathon, and then that's followed by an Over the Garden Wall marathon, like what they did last year. And yeah, that's fine. Over the past few years, I've decided that I just think Scooby-Doo is all right. I don't hate it anymore. So yeah, I guess this marathon is cool. And then they're giving us an Over the Garden Wall marathon that goes through the whole series. And then it's Adult Swim time, where they'll give us a 3rd marathon in a row by marathoning almost, if not all, of the Bob's Burgers Halloween specials. So that's cool. And then that's followed by a handful of other shows like Rick and Morty, Smiling Friends, Haha, You Clowns. I don't think I've seen that show, by the way. Robot Chicken and American Dad. And then it's no King of the Hill up until the last hour of Adult Swim's broadcasting during Halloween night. Well, they'll play the only 2 Halloween-related episodes of King of the Hill, even though one of them's not that focused on Halloween, and that's the Junie Harper episode and the Larson Pork Products episode, called Pygmalion. And if you guys have seen my pre-recorded video about that episode that came out lately, yeah, I still don't want to fucking watch it because me and my family have seen it too many fucking times. And I'm glad that at that point, me and a few of my family members will go 2 whole years without watching that episode from start to finish. And I have also noticed that this episode will already be played like 2 or 3 times during October this year before it airs again on November 1st. So yeah, not looking forward to them airing that. But as for the Junie Harper episode, yeah, that's a little different because during this month of October, that episode won't be on as much as the Larson Pork Products one or the Bat episode. And plus, I've also noticed that last October, Adult Swim couldn't give that episode 1 airing, possibly because they couldn't get the rights to that episode from Fox or something. So yeah, it's a bit of a different situation with the Junie Harper episode. And even though I've seen that one a lot and overall don't think it's that great of an episode, maybe unless if it's the Halloween season, I'd rather have that episode of King of the Hill be played multiple times than the other 2 episodes I brought up. But yeah, after they give us some King of the Hill, it's back to regular show and another Halloween will be over. So overall, how do I feel about Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's plans for Halloween this year? Well, apart from some episodes being overplayed and like some missed opportunities, I may add, like, since Checkered Past had gotten canceled a few months ago, I think it would have been cool if Cartoon Network had made the decision to, like, air the older Cartoon Network specials that they'd air on Checkered Past, like the ones from Ed, Edd n Eddy and Billy and Mandy, and, like, along with Halloween specials of other shows that haven't aired in a while, and maybe even buy the rights to certain Halloween specials that would be pretty appropriate for their channel. I still think it's a decent schedule. You got some, like, really good episodes they're playing early in the morning, like a Regular Show and Gumball. And you got a Scooby-Doo marathon, which I think is all right. Okay, that's a fine way to celebrate Halloween. And there's also the Over the Garden Wall marathon. And even though I still to this day haven't seen much of Over the Garden Wall, I still think that it has plenty of a good reason to be marathon like this at this time of year. And as for Adult Swim, the Bob's Burgers marathon they're doing is pretty cool. And I guess it's cool that before they sign off, they'll be giving the Junie Harper episode of King of the Hill one more shot at the spotlight before they ignore it for at least like another 11 months or so. But however, I would say that since Checkered Past is now canceled, that does bring their schedule down a bit. Like, it would have been great to have seen them play the Halloween specials of the Cartoon Network shows they'd air for Checkered Past, and also see if they could play Halloween specials of older Cartoon Network shows that didn't get to air on Checkered Past. And I also think that since that Family Guy came back, I think maybe they could air at least one Halloween episode of that show. Although, like, I don't know if they're playing a Family Guy Halloween episode for any other day of October. Maybe I should have checked that before I started recording. But yeah, overall, I think both of these schedules, both Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's Halloween schedules for Halloween this year are, like, decent. Like, I wouldn't say they're great, but, decent. They're at least trying to do something for Halloween this year. And I remember earlier this year, I think this was like a month or two ago, I recorded a prediction for Cartoon Network's Halloween schedule, predicting that I would think it would overall end up being worse than the one from last year. Would I say my prediction was right? Maybe. Like, I'd probably say that Cartoon Network's Halloween schedule this year is around the same level of quality as it was last year. Maybe slightly worse or slightly better. And as for Adult Swim, like I said before, I think that the fact that Checkered Past is now gone makes their Halloween schedule a bit worse. And yeah, the fact that, like, both channels are overplaying some stuff while also missing out on some cool opportunities. Although, by the way, the missed opportunities part, I might be mainly looking at Cartoon Network for that. But overall, these schedules aren't that bad. You can tell they're at least trying to do something special for Halloween. So yeah, I think we can at least give them credit for that. And overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Cartoon Network and Adult Swim schedules for Halloween like a 6 or 7 out of 10. These schedules do have some problems with them, but hey, like, even if these schedules were like the worst schedules ever, that wouldn't be such a big deal. Like, it wouldn't ruin my Halloween or anything, because I still have other ways to watch cartoons I love and all that. And I guess this little once-a-year series of mine wouldn't be as fun to do if I knew, like, all these schedules would be, like, fantastic. But yeah, there you guys have it. Those are my thoughts on Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's Halloween schedules. And if you guys want to, you can let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's plans for Halloween this year. And yep, I don't think I got much more to say. So bye, you guys. Happy birthday to me next week. And also, have a happy Halloween this month.